Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about the Fermi Paradox. So let's dive right into it. Now, what exactly is the paradox in it? Well, you have to understand the observable universe is stupidly huge, meaning it's so huge that it has way too many zeros to count, meaning it has like something stupid like 93 billion light year across. And be mindful, it's expanding and it's expanding faster than light speed. So let that sink in. Basically, this is beyond stupidly huge, meaning don't try to count it. It's huge. On top of that, it is not empty. Yes, it is true, most of the space is empty, but like if you randomly just materialize through a warp drive anywhere, most likely you will end up in middle of nowhere. But even with that absolute mathematical reality, there's just too much stuff. And because the number of stuff is so gargantuously, stupidly, ludicrously huge, it has too many of what we call just right stuff. What does that mean? Just right simply means Earth-like. For example, if you call Earth as a one rare mineral, for example like diamond, think of it this way: how many diamonds are on Earth? A lot. Same happens in the universe scale, meaning there's more than enough. Even if you say like Earth is 1 in trillion, there is like billions and hextrillions of trillion to billions, like way too many zeros. So even in something as ludicrous as like 1 to 1 trillion, you still should have multiple of planets that are like exactly like Earth or even better than Earth. Now that creates a paradox. Where is everyone? That's the core statement of it. Where is everyone? Now you maybe say maybe not enough time has passed, because that's absolutely true. Because if you go to early stellar evolution, meaning after Big Bang, if you start the clock, the first few billion years is pointless, simply because there was no heavy elements. Basically the periodic table was not full. Like why? Well, stars have to go boom in order to create supernovas. In that supernova you create heavy elements. So if star has not been going boom again and again and again, you simply don't have rich chemistry at that point in time. You will have very simple chemistry with very simple periodic table. So fundamentally life simply cannot exist if you don't even have things like iron or carbon. So you have to wait for first massive stars to A, form, B, burn out, C, go boom, D, create supernova. Then you will have element rich soup. In that soup, next generation of stars can be created, which will have a planet which will have rich crust, meaning rocky planets and things of that nature. So yes, it is absolutely true. The first few billion years, don't try to count what happens in that time. However, even when you remove 1 or 2 billion years, or like let's say 10 billion, you still have 3 billion years left. That's a long time. That's like a hugely long time, and that compounds this paradox. Means like, where is everybody? Because all the data, if you calmly think about it, just from a mathematical point of view, we should have a lot of life everywhere. Meaning you're like, oh, that planet there, that is that. Even in Milky Way galaxy itself, I'm not even going into universe, like just the Milky Way galaxy, we should be like, okay, in this sector there is a living species there, that sector, that's a really advanced species there, oh, that's a dumb species, but they're they're doing their best. That should happen, but where is everyone? That's the Fermi paradox. Now, there are a lot of people who have put a lot of thought into this, and one popular equation, the Drake equation, come up from that. Now, be very mindful. It's a kind of limiting mathematical probability based on more probability. It's not something solid or concrete like trigonometry, or it's not absolute. Be very mindful of that. Now, it's a rough math of calculating likelihood of communicative alien in Milky Way. That's why be mindful, the R vector is directly proportional to the Milky Way galaxy. If you want to have multiple galaxies into the equation, you may have to add one more variable here. So probability is based on probability chances of other things. For example, if you take this equation itself, the R value, it is like rate of average star formation, meaning how likely it is for a star to be formed. There is a mathematical data point to that, and that's why I specified you have to wait for first few generations of stars to come and then go boom, then in order to create rich chemistry in which you can expect life requires rich chemistry. That's like default requirement. So that's your first variable. Then you multiply that variable with another. How many of those stars, said stars, will have planets? Then you multiply that with how many of those set system will have planets that support life, meaning you can have 10,000 planets. We have detected at least 4 to 5,000 planets, but most of them we know as like either too close to their parent star or too far away from the parent star, or it's like super Jupiter kind of planets, not really conducive to. Basically, if you are trying to solve something like ourselves, the mathematics is not that good for that. So how many planets are there that can actually support life? Then how many lives have actually emerged. So if you have, let's say 10,000 planets that can support life, does not mean all 10,000 will have life. Or maybe it's true, we do not know, we simply don't know. That's why I specified it's probability based on probability. So how many actual life have been developed, then you multiply that data point with how many have developed from life to intelligent life. Now this is the two very distinct things. Be very mindful of that. Life, easy, don't even give a damn about it. Intelligent life only happens once. Now why that once is a very important thing. If you take humanity, as in like Earth as a biosphere, and you like literally stretch it out on a board, basically how many species have been created, you throw a dot, like just twing, 99.99999% of the time it will hit something that is not intelligent, not like us basically. So that creates a very serious bottleneck. So life is easy because life has been created multiple times on Earth. However, intelligent life, that is not as common. Then we start from intelligent life, then we have go to basically life forms that actually communicate that they are, hey, we are here, down here, we are alive, communicate with us and our utilizing radio frequency, things of that nature. That itself is another variable. On top of that, then you have the final god tier variable, that is time, how long they have been doing it. For example, at this very moment, you could have something at the other side of Milky Way galaxy that is like doing everything that I'm asking about. Like they have a life, they are going GG around it, they are transmitting radio signals. But here's the deal, it could be as far as like 50,000 light years or 100,000 light years. What does that mean? That simply means even if at this very exact time, exact moment, if they are doing this, we're gonna find it out in 100,000 years. So that's the reality. That's why the L variable is very important, because if the L variable is very small, like not only in terms of distance, it's also it's like they only transmitted for, let's say, 1,000 years. Yeah, the signal will be very distorted by that time. The signal front that is emanating, for example, Earth has a very strong signal sphere that was emanating. Now it's weaker. Now, like, why? Well, we switched from radio to optical. Most of our communication is happening through undersea fiber stations. So the amount of radio noise that we are sending out is going down, and only radio noise that are going like that is significant enough is basically radar station, for example. We don't even broadcast television signals that are very strong anymore. So you get that point. Like for how long we have been emanating. So from other vantage point of view, Earth only has a very thin sphere that you can detect Earth on. After that sphere, even though we could be here, we are still growing, thriving and all that, we simply don't have a very loud radio presence. So if you calculate all that, then you should be able to calculate what is the probability of finding an intelligent alien species. Now, because of, if you figure out like, wait a minute, we have to know all these things. Yeah, that's the problem with this equation. It's a good mathematical exercise, but it's not really a very good calculation strategy. Like this is not calculating tides, this is not calculating orbits of the planet. It's not absolute. So if you change even a small variable, you could literally have, we should have 1 trillion species on basically Milky Way planets to only 10 to only 1. So that's the reality of it. This is just a mathematical mental exercise, nothing more than that. Do not put too much stock into this, because this is just like, okay, probability by probability by probability by probability. Dude, that's not how math works. That's like A multiplied by B multiplied by a whole alphabet character is like equals something. It's like, dude, we don't have any number into this. So that's the Drake equation. Now, there is another hypothesis behind this, is a great filter. For example, the idea is like, we know we have stuff, we know we have right stuff. Then what if something is actively stopping it? Meaning actively we have thousands of planets that are starting from GG to becoming garbage. So what's happening here? This is the postulates of great filters. For example, there are things that are ending life. For example, assume it this way. We are human. We are here. We are awesome. We are GG. Everything's happening. And then an asteroid is like, ta-da, boom. What the hell you gonna do? Imagine it this way. At that point in time, humanity was like at Roman Empire level. You can't do much about it. Heck, even if it happens today also, we really can't do much about it. Thankfully, I'm really happy that NASA is actually testing a DART mission, and more those sort of missions have been planned by other space agency also. So I am hopeful that in next 100 years, we'll actually have a defense strategy that we can like, no, our planet is here, we're gonna stay here for a while. But you get that point. Like that, to reach that level is very difficult. Very difficult. And you can have intelligent species, you can have civilization, but achieving that level of precision, maybe you not even think about it. Maybe like it's something that you missed it simply because, let's say, your planet evolved very late compared to younger planet. Like Earth is relatively quote-unquote young, so we have evidence of asteroid bombardment. But what if your planet was very old, or life came into very late, so you don't have any basically signs of this sort of thing happening, and let's say there was some super gas giant that has absorbed every other rock. So it's not an inherent thing that you think about, oh, a giant rock from outside is gonna come and boom. Now again, let's say your solar system is very clean, so you don't have any issue. But what if some extra solar activity happens? those sort of thing is very serious great filters, meaning one rock equals one life form gone. So you start with billions of planets and then you're like, life eradicated from multiple planets, so only few planets can pass to the next level. Basically these are exams. Failing means extinction. And there could be other things that are actively stopping things. We don't know, we simply don't know, because you have to understand, single life form could be easy, like single cellular life could be very easy. And at this point in time, from all biological data points, people are assuming that yeah, there if you start to scan every single planet in this Milky Way, not remove the galaxy, I'm saying remove the galaxy, basically remove the universe, just focus on this galaxy, we should find multiples of singular cell life forms. Like at this point in time, it's like, yeah, we should find it. Like it's not like, you know, oh maybe not, like we should find it. Like same way we thought of planets, we just did not have tools to detect it. It's like it's something similar. However, even with that being said, jump from singular cell life form to multicellular is far more complex. That is not something like from basically nothing to abiogenesis could happen, let's say in 200,000 years. Super small time in terms of cosmic scale. But from single cell to multicellular, that could be a random fluke. That may not happen on multiple planets. That jump could be much stronger. So you could have literally thousands of planets, even in Milky Way. Heck, even in Alpha Centauri, the planets that we have detected there is like, yeah, we have life. Just come here and scan it. Oh, it's a single cellular. That's why we don't have aliens. So that itself could be a very great filter. And then we have another aspect that is rather thoughtful when you think about this, that intelligence could be very easy. Like, wait a minute, I'm saying multicellular is difficult, then why the heck I'm saying intelligence? Because multicellular only takes you to one step. Intelligence is even more complex than that, because intelligence could be easy, that longevity may not, simply because, put it this way, Neil deGrasse Tyson put it very bluntly and very wisdom wise, is that if you actually have intelligence, you're more likely to blow yourself up if you did not have intelligence. So think of it this way, how many species are on this planet? Billions of them, billions of species. Like in terms of how many genetic diversity we had, that's huge number. That is like stupidly huge number. But here's the, how many of those species had the ability to scorch the whole planet? Meaning go like, you know, scorch earth protocol. None, only one. Intelligence. So we had intelligence, but here's the deal, we inherently shortened our own lifespan by developing tools of boom destructions. So that's a very serious thing. You could have a scenario where it's like life super easy, multicellular super easy, civilization super easy, but then boom, we start to self-destruct. That could be the next great filter. And this is the another aspect of great filters that you have to understand, people talk about, is like we may have cleared the filters, or maybe the filters are yet to come. Because for example, let's say the jump from life to multicellular life is the difficult one, we have cleared it. We are like, we got this, we're good to go. You could literally have a scenario where you start to go to other planets and it's like, wait a minute, all these planets we are detecting, they even have habitable kind of ecosystem for like us. Like we can just go there and breathe, like almost like Earth-like planet. And then you will have a scenario where it's like, yeah, they have animals, but they don't have, like, you know, intelligence, because intelligence has a self-boom probability. And so these are the things that we have to understand, that there may be great filters that we have cleared, and there are great filters that yet to come. We just don't know. Now, one thing you have to understand, these sort of thought processes are just philosophy. They are not technically science. Now, you have to understand why I'm saying that, because we don't have any data. For example, to plot anything in Drake equation, we need to know a hell lot more. Right now, we don't know anything because we have fundamentally not scanned anything. Like, think of it this way, like before this tool, we simply did not have Kepler Space Telescope. We did not even have a proper understanding how many planets are there. It's like, we knew there should be planets, of course, duh, but before this we did not have any tools to detect it. Now we are sending second generation of these tools, which, be mindful, this does scan farther, but scans a much smaller area. This does scan for a much wider field of view, but here's the deal, even this is not wide enough. And if you compare that to just the scale of Milky Way galaxy, if you only have these two tools, which we practically only have, it's not enough. It's not enough. Like, you will need 10,000 or 10 million billion years to scan everything. And not to mention, all these things have very limited resolution, meaning they can only detect, like, you know, giant gaseous planet, or like planets that are very close to a star system. So heck, inherently they can't see Earth. If they were very far off and they're looking towards Earth, they will not find it easily. So that creates a very serious problem. It's like, we may think, oh, James Webb telescope. Here's the deal, this is very tiny telescope. To give you a context of how tiny this puppy is, compare this puppy to giant Magellan telescope. Magellan telescope, that's a weird name. To give you a context of that, Magellan telescope has like 7-segment mirror. One of the segments have a hole in the center where the light reflects. Now that hole is bigger than Hubble telescope. And one of the mirror segment is huger than this puppy. So if we had something like that, hundreds of that, scanning the whole sky system, then maybe in 100 to 300 years we will be able to scan every single planet in the Milky Way galaxy. Don't even think about Andromeda galaxy, just this. And let's realistically talking about from a mathematical point of view, from wavelength, we can't even do that. We need even huge, like, think of this. That's why we don't have Apollo landing sites like looking from a telescope. We need telescopes that are like in 200-meter range. We can't build something like that yet, and we have to do something like that in space in order to truly start to observe large things, which we simply can't. So our tools are way too small and they are way too limited. If we had like 10,000 of this, that's a different thing. Now, just from a mathematical point of view, we have scanned such a large data, then you can start to discern pattern. Right now, this is the only planet puppy that is creating catalog. So that's gives you some real context. We simply don't have enough data. Then we come to another physics reality, is that more and more we are looking into the deeper mysteries of particle physics and all that jazz. We are realizing light speed may be maximum. Like maybe, like this may be an absolute thing that we cannot crack. Like this is law of the universe. Like thou shall not go faster than light. So if that is true, meaning there is no magical warp drive, hyperspeed, blah blah blah, or hulala, whatever have you, if that's absolute true, like we cannot breach this puppy, that inherently means there are some serious limitation, and light speed is just too goddamn slow. And you may not be lucky as Earth. For example, if you tangibly think about a spacecraft that we can go at, let's say, 50% light speed, not impossible, we can stretch that puppy and doable. So that means that if you can travel at that speed for a long duration, you should be able to travel to Alpha Centauri. But what if you are unlucky? For example, Earth-like situation, everything is awesome, everything is GG, but you simply don't have any moon. Like, why the heck that matters? Well, if you don't have any moon, you don't have any easy to achieve steps. If you don't have any easy to achieve steps, how the heck you gonna do anything? For example, try to teach instead of A for apple, you start to from A for astronaut. Many kids will simply fail because that's too big of a number, too big of a word. And same goes that, like, you start your kids with some small things, then you go to whole medical science. You don't directly class 1 medical science. It will simply not work. So think about this. Let's say you have planet, everything awesome, but you do not have, like, something that can be easily done in order to teach you how to do something more advanced than that. Like, we have to go to moon, only then we can dream about going to Mars, only then we can dream about going to Alpha Centauri. And what if you even have that? Like, let's say you have your moon, or heck, you may be lucky, you have multiple moons. Awesome, like how Mars has that. Everything is GG. But after that, let's say the nearest star could be stupidly far, like it's 100 light years far apart. Yeah, then you can't go. And let's say if your light speed vehicle can only travel at 10% or light speed, or maybe you are like Voyager probes, yeah, you can't go that far. You're like, why? Well, elements have a half-life, meaning the things that you are building your craft out of, they will degrade on their own. They're like poof, because of the time. So that light speed is just too goddamn slow. And again, many species may not be as lucky as we are. We are like, hey, moon, only few seconds off. Again, from light speed point of view, Mars, only few light minutes away, only few years. But what if, imagine these numbers are like very ludicrous. It's like, yeah, the nearest planet that you can think about is like, 100 minutes off. Very far out. Good luck trying to even go through there. You simply won't do it, because again, you could be inherently trapped. So light speed is just too goddamn limiting, and it also limits communication. So even if you have the technology to, like, actually go farther, you may be like, hey, I'm limiting myself to the star system simply because, yeah, the nearest one is 100 light years, or even 4 light years is not something that we can actually do. It's just something that we think we can do in the future. And we, in terms of our mathematical understanding, we only have sample set of 1. That's the biggest issue, because we are multicellular life. We think multicellular should be easy, but what if it's not? What if we actually start to go to Europa and we dive deep into it and we find life there? And if it's not made out of DNA, let's say it's made out of XYZ, but here's the deal, it would have like same kind of lifespan. Let's say we figured out from carbon dating and all that data point, it's like, dude, this puppy is old. Let's say millions of years evolution has happened, but here's the, it never jumped from single to multiple. Then we'll have some data, okay, single to multiple, that means great filter is behind us, but we don't have anything. That makes it not science, just postulations, meaning you're just hoping for it. Again, that's a very good thing. That's how you think about it, then you create tools to analyze it. Like before this, we simply did not have planet catalogs. Now we have planet catalog. Like that's how things progress. But at this point in time, something like Fermi Paradox is unsolvable from our point of view. Mathematically, it's unsolvable. We simply don't have anything. And light speed may be ultimate limiter, where it's like, yeah, it sounds good, but like don't worry too much about it. Think about this, like Andromeda galaxy right now could have a intergalactic party going on. We will not know about it. Yeah, our photons will come to you in 1 million years. So what do we know? Well, at this point in time, we are here. That's absolute. We exist, we are here, and we are alone for now. Meaning, if we are scanning planets, we do have 4,000 or 5,000 planets. Some planets are like, similar to our Earth. We know at this point in time, with all our tools, with all our understanding, that we are here and we are alone. What does that mean? That simply means we must expand. It's not an option anymore. It's a compulsory requirement. For example, if we do not expand, we have one point of failure, meaning one supermassive volcano, boom, Earth gone. One super bad solar flare, boom, Earth gone. Cosmic background ray going really bad, on really making love to us, we could be cooked. Gamma ray burst, asteroid, things of that nature. We have one point of failure, meaning if Earth goes, all goes. Now you may be like, why does that matter? Because yes, it is absolutely true that everything that is alive will die today or tomorrow or 10 years from now or 10 billion years from now. But here's the thing, there must be something rather than nothing. If we have to choose, think of this, right now you are making a choice. Should there be something or should there be nothing? And it's safe to assume at this point in time, we may be the first. That could happen. Like from a mathematical point of view, every other species that exists, that will also assume the same thing that I'm telling you, is like we may be the first. And like Isaac Arthur did a very amazing mathematical breakdown of that. Is like just from the absolute reality of our universe and the light speed limitation, every species is kind of trapped in its own local bubble, and it will think like it's the first one, it will think it's alone. So we have to, again, this is not something like ego talking. This is like with all the constraints that we have, it's okay to assume that. It's like hope for the best, prepare for the worst kind of scenario. Now if we that part is true, then we have to do our best to last long, meaning go from planet Earth to moon, to start having a system, having a self-sustained, surviving colonization. Because if we do that, then we have a scenario where, let's say, a supermassive volcano goes boom on Earth, we have a backup system. And then again, if you have a communication data point on moon, you will be able to because there will be survivor if a supermassive volcano goes boom. But you need a point of coordination, you need to give people hope, you need good backup, quote unquote, backup drive. Moon would be that. Then we start to go to Mars and we try to terraform that. That's awesome. Think of it this way. What does that mean for a planet or a solar system? Solar system had one life seed, Earth, and it started to spread out. It had moon, it figured out other moons of the Jupiter, then it has Mars, it started to terraform. That matters. And maybe like Earth will humans will only contaminate it, only pollute it. It's like, it does not matter to Mars whether it's polluted or not. It does not matter to moon it's polluted or not. Let's understand this very thoroughly. Nothing versus something. That's the whole point. And everything we are doing on Earth, it's just a training exercise. Yes, we are not doing the best job, but that's the whole thing. You start to do a job, then you figure out how to do a good job. And don't ask any professional in your life. It's like, did you start to be like awesome from day one? And they're like, no, hell no. The same thing is happening on Earth. It's like, yes, we are figuring out how to deal with energy. Okay, now we are dealing out how to deal with the consequences of atmosphere composition change. We are learning, we are growing, we are evolving, and we are making active attempts to be better. And if I assume that to be a good thing, then I have to assume doing the same thing to Mars, Moon, or almost all non-habitable bodies in our solar system would be amazing thing. Going to let's say Alpha Centauri and finding out like there is no life there, then colonizing that puppy is also a desirable thing. That's like, okay, there is something. And once we start to cross a star barrier, meaning rather than focus on one star going to multiple stars, then we are immune. At that point, like the moment we have like 10 stars colonized, the end, humanity will not go extinct no matter what happens. Like almost nothing can wipe us out. Unless like something even superior than us starts to come. At that point, you will know the answer of intelligent alien. So these are the known data points. So this was one presentation on Fermi Paradox. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I would urge you to press dislike. And I would urge you to leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.